Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rand and Tone Show.
This is Tone in your background, y'all.
Oh, man. We want to welcome everybody to the show tonight, man. Welcome to Living Room TRT. I'm Big Rand. I am your host along with my boy, Tony Tone.
Aha, that Woody Woo man definitely got your back.
Now, you know, the last time we left you, we had a serious conversation about sovereign states. So we're going to backtrack a little bit on that and just to let everybody know what a sovereign state is. It's basically a state that governs itself. So with that, we decided we wanted to go a little further. So we decided that we wanted to talk about civil rights and civil liberties. And people, there are different. And it took a lot of research, took a lot of time for us to look up a lot of things because it's a lot of things we don't understand. So you have to bear with us because we're learning as well as we're reporting it.
We're just going to keep it brief.
Yeah, we'll keep it brief. So let me give you an example. So there's a distinction between civil rights, which means the basic right to be free from unequal treatment based on a certain characteristics which we deem important, like race, gender, and disability. And civil liberties, which are basic freedoms guaranteed by the Bill of Rights, are interpreted through the years. So let me just get this straight so we all know. Mm-hmm. When we talk about civil rights fall under the Declaration of Independence, and they also fall under the Constitution. And I'm going to tell you why. They both were written to mean the same thing, but different depending on the situation. And I think whoever did this, I think this is quite brilliant because it separates the laws of the sovereign states. It separates the laws of the United States Bill of Rights. It separates the laws of human rights, civil liberties, and civil rights. I know that's complicated, but if you follow us for a minute, you will understand. First, we're going to just get into what the civil rights actually mean. Tom, you want to be quiet over there today?
No, I'm just sitting here reading up on the civil liberties, actually.
Oh.
There's five. Well, I'm going to go to the civil liberties. I'll let you do the civil rights.
Okay, go ahead.
As far as there's 5 civil liberties. Those civil liberties are the freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of assembly, and freedom to petition the government.
Are we free? Freedom. We said freedom of speech, freedom of religion,
freedom of press,
freedom of
assembly, and freedom to petition your government.
Now, I want to talk about our freedom of press because that's one of the reasons why I started to talk about this, and I asked Tone if we could, and he agreed. The civil liberty part is very important to me because of the freedom of press, because we have that now. Well, a lot of people coming up with their own YouTube channels and their own personal Skypes and things like that.
Personal interpretations of how they see things, and you're doing basically the same thing.
Right. And I think it's beautiful. What my only problem is that we don't use our civil liberties accordingly. I think we use it to do a lot of bashing, a lot of takedown. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking anybody's broadcast. However you broadcast, listen, because I listen to it all. Negative, positive, I think it's all beautiful. I'm just saying what I see. My opinion, no one else's. I'm not, yeah.
And no, I was going to say, as we always say, it's just a level of our expression.
Yes. And no views taken and opinions is just opinions on the show. All music played is not necessarily owned by us. All rights.
Now that we got that out.
But I think civil liberties plays a good part because I think that's where a lot of us go wrong. Because we get them confused with our civil rights because we think when we're violated by certain things, we're like, well, that's our civil right. No, it's your civil liberty to have freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. It's your civil liberty to what religion you're allowed to pray to. But it is funny. It is funny because some of that does fall under the 14th and 15th Amendment.
Mm-hmm. But your civil rights is your right to vote.
Right.
Your right to fair trial, the right to government service, right to public education. These are all things you have rights to.
That's civil rights.
That's your civil rights.
And I mean that's
just an example of a few of your
that's a big difference,
civil rights.
Though. That's a big difference, and I think a lot of people get that confused because I'm not sure if you're able to exercise your civil liberties in the court under your civil if you're claiming civil rights, and I think that's where a lot of people might get confused by certain things. Like, do you claim civil rights or civil liberties?
And if you don't claim the right thing, you'll be rejected and not know why. Right.
Because you're not aware of certain things and how they work and how things go. And that could be dangerous. That's actually dangerous in the United States.
Especially if it's time consuming.
This place has a lot of laws. It's a lot of laws for the land that require, like I said, the Bill of Rights, the human rights. I mean, this stuff is really confusing if you're not really paying attention. And like I said, it all started with the sovereign states. When we did a show the last show we did a show on sovereign states. And I wanted to let everybody know, like, why are we going through certain things? Everything we talk about leads up to the things that are happening right now.
And being that you mentioned that, when we was looking up on the civil rights and civil liberty, it brought me to Puerto Rico. And it gave me some understanding of Puerto Rico's standing within all that. Because based on the findings, Puerto Rico is an unincorporated territory of the United States.
Which means that they can collect money on it, but they're not part of the corporation fully.
But they're neither sovereign nation, nor a U.S. state. So that made me think about that for a minute.
Could be a district.
I don't know. It just puts them in a position where they're in between. And that could have been the reason why they lacked a lot of funding to rebuild. That's what it, you don't think so?
No. Don't get me started on a lack of funding.
I mean, I know where I felt it went wrong at.
You know, I'm going to tell people, a lot of people are looking for the government to blame for a lot of things, as they are. They are to blame for a lot of things that do go wrong.
Sometimes they make promises they don't keep.
They don't keep, yes. There are flaws in our system, people. I want you to understand that. But, excuse me, I have a real slight cold. But what you're talking about right now is something totally different. Now, look, we about to go into a whole another thing, and now so this hits.
You want to go there now?
Yeah, I'm gonna go there.
Okay.
Because this all pans in from like I said, from civil rights, Constitution.
Well, that's what made me bring it up.
I'm gonna talk about it. I'm glad you brought it up. So we're gonna stem off with this. If you really want to know why we are in poverty, why we are having a lot of situations that we're having, why we're at each other's throat, why the economy is the way it is, why certain neighborhoods don't have certain fundings, or why they are not getting this or they're not getting that. If you really want to know, there's a documentary out right now called The Panama Papers. I think you need to read that.
Uh-oh.
If you really want to know what's happening to our money, our funders and things like, it is very dangerous to follow the money. Very dangerous. The money gonna lead you places you don't want to be, and it's gonna split you off between your government and your religion. So you might not want to go that far, but I'm telling everybody, if you really want to know about your civil rights, your human rights, the Constitution, the 14th Amendment, why we are in such poverty, that you really need to watch the documentary called The Panama Papers. And that can be found on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, that can be found on Amazon. Now, the thing with Puerto Rico, that kind of baffles me, because I'm not sure about that right now. That's a good one.
What I see.
That is definitely a good one, because I'm not sure, because you know what, we don't seem to. I'm not gonna say we don't care. That's a harsh word to say, because you got people here who care, but I just feel like certain places like that. I don't know. I don't know. I just wanted to know if, along with Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all our other activists, when they were marching for civil rights and civil liberties, or were they just marching for civil rights? Because they call it the civil rights movement.
Okay.
But was civil liberties there? Because I don't know.
It was actually, I believe they was going to the, as you said, civil rights first. But you got to have rights before you can do anything.
But civil liberty gives you rights under the United States.
I think you got to have the right first. You got to have the right to be free, as they stated. The liberties is only religion, speech, press, assembly. But you got to have rights before all of that.
Right.
If you ain't got no rights, how you gonna hold down all of that? How you gonna have a right to speak if you don't have rights as a human being?
So do you think human rights come before civil rights and civil liberty? You
got to have human rights first. How you gonna have any rights except to be rights to be treated like a human being?
I have to look up human rights now. That's a good one. Because human rights do fall under a certain act. It does fall under a certain act.
Human rights starts with life.
It does. It does.
Why would you need a right to speak if you don't have a right for life?
Same reason why they changed the Declaration in the Constitution to fit their needs. It happens. The problem is, what are we fighting for? Human rights are rights inherited to all human beings, regardless of race, sex, nationality, ethnicity. How you pronounce it?
You got me all twisted. I said it right the first time.
Ethnicity.
I can't even say it now. You done messed me up.
Ethnicity. Language, religion, or any other status.
A listener will correct you.
Human rights include the right to life and liberty, freedom from slavery and torture, freedom of opinion and expression, the right to work and education, and many more.
Right to use the bathroom, all of that.
Okay, so then I understand that. So they also tell you that freedom from slavery and freedom of torture and freedom of opinion and expression. Does that fall under civil liberties as a right to speak?
There might be some civil liberties in there.
Some civil liberties in there.
There might be some in there.
Why so many rights, so many bills? Is it because you have different situations for different occasions? That's because
you got to set the rights first. You got to set the rights, which is the rule, and then the liberties come behind to follow behind the rule.
So why do we fail so much? You think we don't know the rules?
We all don't play by the rules.
Damn. You think that's why a lot of us don't have success in court? Because we don't.
Well, if we played by the rules, we wouldn't be in court, most of us.
I understand that, but there's sometimes you got people who are innocent who go to court.
Okay.
Some people who are definitely, like, that's a violation of their human rights.
What is a violation?
Of sending an innocent person to jail.
But
right?
That's why you have
restitution?
a right to you have a right to fair trial.
Even
I don't want to say allegedly, but you have a right to a fair trial, which, if you're found guilty by your peers, then you are guilty.
I'm sorry, I don't believe in a fair trial, but I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
So what kind of law would you have?
I think it's already decided. Once Once you get arrested, I think it's already decided.
Nah, it can't be decided.
Then they shouldn't.
Evidence hasn't been laid down
So
yet.
then they shouldn't be decided what charges to give you.
Well, the charge is going to vary. That's just like going into hospital, same
All
thing.
right,
You're going to vary until they check you out.
I want you to understand what you just said to me.
Go ahead.
That you, as your human rights, you're supposed to be judged by your peers.
Okay, go ahead.
But you're not charged by your peers.
You're charged by individuals hired to
So you have the you have the right to be judged by your peers, but your peers can't pick your crime. Your charges are your crime.
No, you didn't get. You got to get to your peers. You got to get to the point to where you be judged.
You know why I have a problem with that? Because there are laws that are made up on arrest.
That's possible.
Just like the fact if an officer tells you to turn around and you don't do it on the first command, that's resisting arrest. You see what I'm saying? Like
You had me stuck there for a minute. I was about to come up with something.
Because you can't tell me that I could be judged by my peers, but not charged by my peers.
Your peers are not there when time to be charged.
But then they should not be there time of judgment. You see my whole.
You have a choice for that. You can give up your
my point
jury.
my point that I'm trying to make is that when you get charges slapped on you, it should be what the jury decides they want to charge you with, because that's actually being judged by your peers.
You're not being judged yet. You're being charged.
That's my point.
No, you're being charged.
You're sitting there being charged by the system, but judged by your peers.
Yes, because at the end of it all, you do have the right to choose to be judged by your peers, or you can waive jury.
You have a
and take a chance on the judge.
You have a right to be judged by your peers, but not the right to be charged by your peers.
No, you can't. You're not going to be charged by your peers. You're going to be charged by the rule.
You know why they changed the law like that? So the black people wouldn't have, no, let me not say that. So the slaves wouldn't have an opportunity to hang their masters. That's why the right they have the right to charge you. Because in other words, if they give their peers the right to charge you, you're not going to charge your peers with the same crime that the system would.
No, you charge you. They will judge you based on the laws and rights of the individual.
See, what I'm saying is this. Laws are made by man, correct? Mm-hmm. Laws are charged in the system by man by what is written.
Right.
But when you get to court, you're judged by your peers.
If you choose. You can choose to go by what the book says and have the judge make the decision.
What part of the system of that says my civil liberties or my human rights?
Well, you have an attorney that's supposed to protect that.
Let's eliminate the attorney for a minute, because that's a good point. But let's eliminate the attorney. Matter of fact, let's go to commercial. We got to do commercial. Last time we get commercial, we got to get the commercial. We going to take commercial.
We be right back, y'all.
You got to get paid, man. You want to be paid, man. I don't want to.
Check was kind of short last time. Shout out to Paul Masson. We not going to forget you.
Gentile, black man, white. What about this? We all want to help one another.
Paul Masson, the official drink of Living Room TRT. Yeah, we drink that. We drink that, Paul Masson.
Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that
Oh man, welcome back. People laugh at us when we say things like that, but you heard what he said, checks are short. You cannot forget about who pays bills. Anyway, let's get back to what we was talking about. 'Cause I think that was a good one. Welcome back to Living Room TRT. For those who listen to Law and Fellow Radio, good evening.
87.9 on your radio.
And the crowd goes wild. So,
Hold
my
on,
point.
Hold on. We got
Yeah.
we got police passing by.
Police is passing by.
They got helicopters out.
Yeah, something going on.
Run, brother, run. You got to be in the vicinity of our voice because the police is in the vicinity. You better run, brother.
Oh man, I gotta call you, making me choke. Yeah, but my whole point that I'm just saying is that, oh, excuse me, I don't think we really pay attention to our civil rights, our civil liberties, and our human rights. Now let's get back to that, because that was a very good topic. When you are arrested in the system, you are charged according to the land of the law.
According to the laws made by man.
The law is made by man, written by man. Now, man has an opportunity to change certain things because over the years, they had to redesign a lot of rights in order to fit certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that that's where a lot of people get stumped because a lot of people don't keep up with the new bills that are passed and things like that. We get confused. We still try to live on what we read, and we don't. And you know that there's a new version of everything that comes out. I guess they call it a revamped version. That's why I tell a lot of people, hit your libraries. It's very important to know your law.
People don't do libraries no more. They got
Well, get your smartphone, get your computer.
Wikipedia and all that kind of thing.
I mean,
and
it's
Google and YouTube.
Information is information. How you do it. Me personally, I just think if you read, you'll get more information in the book than you would out of the computer, because the computer's only going to let you see what the man puts in. Where the book may actually give you slightly a little more what you might not see on the computer. That's just my opinion.
There's some little kid out there saying, "No, Grandpa, it gives you word for word that's in the book."
You ain't never lied.
I know that.
You ain't never lied about that.
I know that. They said, "No, Grandpa,
They
it don't go like that."
They definitely hit you with that. Grandpa, you done lost your mind.
Everything in the book is on the computer.
I don't know. I think right now, see, the whole thing about human rights, it's the life and liberty part. And the whole thing about civil liberties is the freedom of speech. And the whole thing about the civil rights is the freedom to act.
Well, it's not just freedom of speech. It's also religion.
Man, they sound like they close, too.
He might as well run up here and tell his story.
Yeah, because, I mean, them sirens, it's like
Getting
they got
closer.
They got something going on in our neighborhood. Every night, I tell you, somebody's civil rights about to be violated right now. I shouldn't even say that.
No. You ain't got to worry about it. Somebody out there got their phone out.
Somebody got their phone out. Yeah. This is crazy. People, we just need to pay attention. You hear us joking and you're laughing, but this is very serious. Please pay attention to your civil rights and civil liberties and your human rights.
Sometimes it can help you in situations such as running into police at times. That go right along with keeping your hands visible when they pull you over in the cars. It's just knowing what your rights are and where your rights come from. I'm learning myself, so I'm not telling anybody anything that I'm not doing myself.
That's right. As we read and as we talk, we're learning ourselves. This is something new to us, too. This is not something that we know. This is new to us, too. We found out, too. And it took a certain event to go on. You know, it's always something in the tragedy to make you look up something, because otherwise you really wouldn't look it up. And
I'm trying to get in the mode of looking up something before the tragedy come. Then I know why the tragedy came.
And I'm gonna tell you why this is crucial. Remember the young. I'm gonna go back for a minute on the Nipsey Hussle story. The young man that was shot with Nipsey Hussle. He was on parole, I believe. He's getting ready to get violated. He got shot with Nipsey. Let me get it right. I'm pushing the story. Let me get it right. There was a young man. He got paroled after serving time. What he served time for didn't matter. One of his stipulations of getting parole was that he couldn't come in contact with known gang members.
Okay.
Now, at this time, I want you to understand that Nipsey Hussle was working with the police in order to change
causing
a certain situation. So this young man happened to be with someone who knew Nipsey. Now the man knew Nipsey too, but it's just like you knowing somebody and I knowing somebody, but you know him better than I do because you're around him more than I. But I come home, I need clothes. You take me to the store, not knowing that man's gonna be there. He shows up. Y'all have a conversation. Someone shoots me, kills him. Now I'm being violated on my parole because I was next to you. But he didn't pull the trigger or anything else. But you know, as a felon, you can't be around certain things.
That's guilty by association.
Amen. What's going to happen now? In this case, is this his civil rights being violated, his civil liberties being violated, or his human rights being violated?
Okay, what's supposed to happen?
Yes.
Is he's supposed to have an attorney that's supposed to protect his rights.
All right, let's talk about it without the attorney.
You can't talk about it without the attorney because he's the most important part. Because he has to make sure his rights don't get violated. That's the bottom line.
Wait. Okay. The reason why I don't want to talk about the attorney because the attorney doesn't come into the picture. We are talking about the arrest.
Okay.
What I'm asking you at this point in time right now, he got arrested because he was involved with
an individual
who's
in
known
a shooting or whatever,
who was known to be a gang member, and according to his stipulations,
violated probation, parole, whatever.
What's your opinion in this? Should he have been violated?
He by what you stated, they arrested him for. If that is correct, if they can prove that, then yes, he did. He violated his parole,
even though he wasn't the one who pulled the trigger or anything else.
You just stated he should not be in contact with any known gang members, anybody affiliated or involved with any type of crime. Was he, I'm going to ask you the question, was he involved with somebody that was either gang related or involved in a crime?
I'm going to tell you the story again. The man just came home from jail.
Okay. I'm going to ask you the same
question
again.
He went to the man's store to buy clothes. I don't think he had any intentions. It's allegedly that he had no intentions of running into Nipsey. He just was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, yes, according to the stipulations of his parole, he's not supposed to be next to any known gang members, anything like that. I get that part. But he wasn't in an activity. He was involved in a shooting.
Okay, and I'm gonna stop you right here.
Go ahead, I'm gonna listen.
You asking me as a black man, or you asking me as what I think the law is?
Good point. I'm asking you as both.
You can't ask me as both because you're gonna get two different answers.
And I want to.
I don't believe he should have went to jail if that's true what you're saying. Personally,
as a black man.
That's how I feel.
As a black man.
As I feel.
So as a black man, what rights do you feel right now are violated? Even though he's in the stipulation, do you still feel they violated his human rights?
Who?
The system.
No.
None of civil rights.
Because officially he was being in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's well. I've seen it happen. I've seen people do turnarounds, go right back up in the penitentiary based on they just happened to come out the wrong train station at the wrong time. They got off the wrong train. That was the wrong ride. And they was on the way to the parole officer. Said that when the police rolled up, he just happened to have to walk past dealers or users when the black van came up. I'm gonna say it like that. He was tossed up against the wall with everybody else, but he just got off the train, going to see his parole officer. He went right. He didn't even get to kiss his kids goodbye before they took him right back. So I know how the system can work.
But what I'm asking you is, if the person is not committing the crime, I understand the stipulations. You're asking a person in the world.
You tell them to be emotional.
No.
Go ahead. You telling the system to have an emotion.
No.
Go ahead.
I'm saying you can't put a parolee back into a world of criminals and expect him not to associate with criminals. Like if you was a Harvard graduate, if you went to Harvard, but you didn't graduate from Harvard, You're not supposed to associate with the kids from Harvard?
As long as they not with
You knew them. So my whole point is...
As long as they not in active...
my point that I'm trying to make
against
is that...
the law, doing anything, committing crimes, carrying guns, weapons, drugs. He can't be around none of that. But the friends don't matter. It's what the friends are into.
Okay. So now that's a good point. Now here's the thing. You telling him he can't be around it, but you deny him the address that keeps him outside the zone.
That's an individual case.
But my point I'm trying to make to you is that in this point right now, what we're talking about, you don't believe that none of his civil rights, none of his civil liberties, or his human rights are being violated right now due to a fact that he was at the wrong place at the wrong time? So many people can be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
You ready?
I'm been ready.
When he's released from whatever facility he was at,
yes,
he signed and got a pamphlet of he has to change his places and things any type of danger.
You gonna keep telling me that, huh?
I'm gonna keep because that's what the rule is. And I know how it is to come home and be in an environment in which you live.
My whole point is, how can you expect a person not to affiliate when you put him right back in the... Okay, come on, let's be 100 now. Everybody who goes to jail, they look for some type of place to be paroled. Can't get parole outside the zone that they committed the crime in. It has to be near the crime. Why is that? Some people get zoned right back in the middle. Get paroled right back in the middle, but you tell him he can't associate.
So why is that?
So when he walks out the building,
wait a minute, why do they get parole right there?
Because they know they're gonna F up.
But why do they get paroled there?
I don't know.
You saying they shouldn't allow it?
I'm telling you that you shouldn't put a stipulation on it. My whole thing is you can't put a male horse in a stable with female horses and tell him not to have children. You can't put a man right back in. You can't take a man out of hell, put him back into hell, and tell him to behave. How is that going to work? And then you telling him, okay, so I'm going to use this address instead of this address because I have a feel of a better chance. And you get denied on that address. Because you must come back here because we got to keep you in the zone.
Well, that I'm not familiar with.
There are a lot of people who don't get parole to the address that they put.
Because there's something wrong with the address. It's not because they got to keep you in a certain zone.
Whatever it is.
It's not. I've never heard of that.
But that's what they tell you. I'm just telling you what I know.
They have to.
I know that for a fact. I know that for a fact.
First of all, before you even release, you got to have an address. Now, they can only deny that address if there's something known criminally wrong, domestic or whatever at that address.
But that's my whole point. Where you gonna go? What apartment you gonna find that at least one time somebody hasn't been arrested? At least one out of every 3 people in the United States. I'm gonna say 1 out of 2. Hell,
okay, which side do you want?
I don't give a damn what side.
No, I mean, you want me to answer that, or you want the system to answer you?
Let both sides answer, because
the system don't give a damn.
You know they don't.
Okay then.
So I'm asking
me personally. I understand you. I'm standing behind you with the sign.
Okay.
Walking down the same street. I'm giving you the system version.
But
there's no but. I'm giving you the system version.
I just think that
no one is exempt from the system.
I understand that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I do understand that he has to go through certain aspects and things like that. But man, that's a little rough. Come on, that's just a little rough. Especially when you in places. Nah, that's not even fair to say places like that, because I live.
No, that can happen anywhere.
Yeah, I live in places.
That can
like
happen
that,
anywhere. I told you, dude that I knew was getting off the train, coming from upstate or whatever, and was coming to see his parole officer first. There happened to be a raid because there's massive dealings and going on, not far from the parole office.
Wait,
so he just happened to be walking by when the van rolled up. All of a sudden, he's in the van. Pulled out his papers, just got out, and everything. First thing they said was, "So what would you doing here?" The parole officer's right there.
You think we had it for self-destruction? You think we're headed for a depression? And I don't mean
You talking about
financial.
depression? I'm talking.
And I'm not even talking financially.
I thought you were talking about the ozone.
No.
Which one do you want to go to?
We are having a series of events that are going on right now that just doesn't make sense right now. That's carrying on throughout the whole world. Every time you look left, something's happening right. Every time you look right, something's happening left. Like, what's going on?
I'm just glad nobody got hurt in that fire. And then the man, the cathedral down in Manhattan, he tried to go up in there with 2 gas cans and some lighter fluid. And gonna tell him, because his car was out of gas.
To me, a diversion is everything.
He wanted to walk through the cathedral to get to Madison Avenue because that's where his car was at, was the first thing I heard. But you want to walk through a cathedral with 2 tanks of gas.
My thing is if the first cathedral, the Notre Dame Cathedral, didn't burn, would he have gotten through with the gasoline?
That just looked. He shouldn't have.
But you never know, right? You see, my whole point is, woulda, if, or coulda. Like right there, that's another one of them things about your human rights too. Why would you what made you think I was suspicious?
You carrying 2 things of gas going in the church after 2 churches done burned.
Exactly.
So that doesn't make you suspicious?
Not if you're gonna have the canisters wide open. No. You ain't even tried. That goes right up to dude who set the lobby on fire. Remember when the guy? It was a guy.
Oh, a little ways back.
Yeah, and he didn't take the can. He put the can on the side. He snuck that. An arsonist is not gonna do something where everybody can see. It was too many people around for him to carry the cans.
Okay, so where you think he was going?
Probably was going to his car. I don't. It just was too many.
He said his car was out of gas. That's why he had the gas.
And he said
tanks.
that. And he said that when he got to the car, the officer said his car had gas in it. He didn't say how much. He just said he had gas.
They knew his car ain't need no gas. They knew something was wrong. You going through the come on, man. Come on. Go ahead.
Nah.
Go ahead.
Nah.
You trying to get this dude the benefit of the doubt.
Nah. First of all,
I got an example for that. That's just like somebody trying to go with 2 gallons of gas through your cookout because he live on the other side of your house. You go, what the? Okay then, yeah. How does that sound? But he's going through a church.
I'm not saying you know what? It's weird.
House of worship. I
It's
can't
weird.
even call that a church.
Everything about the whole we just need to take a break. I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to, cause that's a good. It is a good one. I ain't gonna lie. I don't.
A good one. It wasn't nothing good about it.
No,
About
what
to
I'm
burn
saying.
up something.
What I'm saying, what you're telling me, because he had to be real idiotic to know that this church just burned down, this cathedral just burned down, and you gonna walk through here with these 2 cans, like it was gonna be all right. I'm trying to justify for it, but you know what? An idiot is just an idiot. I mean, we in this day and times, man, it's a lot of things going on that we just can't explain.
They're gonna put it on mental health.
It's always on mental. That's why I'm asking if we going through a depression.
I was just telling somebody today. They kept saying, "Oh, he had a mental problem." A doctor, everything she was saying, they got a mental problem. He got a mental. Why are people? There's some people that's just evil. They don't have a mental problem. They know what they're doing. They just evil. Everybody don't have to have a mental problem. Oh, if he doing that, something had to happen to him to make him do that. Oh, if she's out there indulging in 18 men out of a month. Oh, something happened to her when she was a child.
Did it?
No, I wasn't one of the 18 men, so I didn't have that much content.
You're so damn crazy. I ain't even gonna justify that. We're gonna take a question. This dude here, man. Oh, where's some time? Yo, he back right after this.
Living Room TRT. Ran into on the show. All day, y'all.
Look, Christmas time, Thanksgiving, we got family together. Yeah, I got you. Let's go get some Hennessy, Douce, Remy. But if I'm just going to a kickback, I'm with my boys, I'm with myself. Y'all gonna drink this? Oh, y'all ain't getting nothing. It's gonna do the same thing to you. And it's cheap. We get everybody messed up for $24. And they have something left over for next weekend. So the moral of this story is, to all my Parmesan drinkers, just because we drink Parmesan don't mean we broke. Don't let nobody tell you that. You smart. Hey, Nick told you smart. Okay? So with that being said,
Parmesan, the drink of choice.
Parmesan is the go-to drink when you're broke. Now that's just disrespectful. Because I'm not broke, and Parmesan is my go-to drink anyway. Look, man, I look at it like this. I don't look at Parmesan drinkers as being broke. I look at Parmesan drinkers as being smart. They smart, man. Look, why we gotta be broke because we like Parmesan, man? Hey, look, I got a truck outside that takes 89 Supreme gas. That little extra $20, $30 I can use for my gas tank, man. I ain't broke, I'm smart, man. I'm telling y'all, man, y'all kill me with that, man. Why we gotta be labeled by the type of liquor we drink, man? I guess people just, they gotta have their Hennessy and take a picture and put it on Instagram and Facebook to get likes and shares and to get their street cred up and this and that. Look, don't be ashamed to post a picture with Parmesan, dog. Don't be ashamed to show everybody you drink Parmesan. I'm not ashamed, I drink it. And I'm gonna enjoy my weekend. Parmesan drinkers, we ain't broke, we smart. Don't be ashamed to drink your Parmesan. Don't be ashamed to drink your Parmesan.
Welcome back. I hope y'all like our Parmesan commercials, man. Even though we don't own the rights to Parmesan commercials, we do own the right to play them. Now let me stop.
Shoot, I got just as much right I got to drink it.
Shout out to Parmesan, man. Thank you for the support, love you.
Holla at them Wake and Bake boys, Logitech, Newer, HP, Behringer. We get love when we perceive love, y'all.
Vanguard. Shout out to Black Marble fam. Everybody drop. Shout out to Fergie too.
I was just about to kick.
Yeah, for you, his thing hitting the air. I got all the clips. I got everything. I don't put them out because that's something personal I want to use for the Living Room TRT. So people think that we're not paying attention. We pay attention to a lot of things. But we also collect a lot of things for our own personal use. And when the time is right, we're going to put something together and we're going to put it out like our own little memories over the years and things like that. So we collect a lot of things. So please don't ever think that we don't watch. And to my, anybody who's listening and Trez Washington, I follow that guy on Facebook. Yeah, he got a mean song out. And I would like to see if I can get a right to play that on the show, man.
Shout out to my man Oliver Grove. He about to come out. He actually got a single dropping on October 4th. Oh, October 4th. Sorry, y'all. On May 4th. He got a single dropping. Sounds real good. I heard it.
Groove You TV. I like you, Oliver. I love your song. And shout out to my girl Noelle too. Shout out to my girl Ariel Noelle. She got a new line coming out. I actually have a sample that I'm gonna give to the crew. It's a hair product, body product, and it smells absolutely beautiful. Once I get more information, I'm going to let you know. But you know how we do, black owned for life. So we want to make sure we get that out there. Shout out to Miss Clark. Shout out to Seaball. Shout out to Pro Assassins. I mean, the list goes on. It goes on. So
Forget about Rah-Rah.
I didn't forget about the Pro Assassins.
Wow.
Pro Assassins, Sick Hearts. I didn't forget about her.
Okay.
Rah-Rah got him in there. Even though we've been trying to get that interview with him for a minute.
That's a busy young man.
As a busy young man.
I know he live.
But in closing, I just want to let everybody know. People, I think, you should really pay attention, not to our show, but you should pay attention to your civil rights, your civil liberties, and your human rights. To know where you stand, know what you're fighting for, know why you're fighting.
Know what rights that you have
Mm-hmm.
when being pressed up with any type of issues.
Please know that you belong to a corporation. Please don't misunderstand anything else about what I'm saying. And that this is not a kick towards the United States. It has nothing to do with them. It has to do with us and knowledge of knowing what we're doing, what we're involved with.
What we can and what we cannot do.
Exactly.
Or
Why we
should not
banking?
do.
Exactly. Come on with it, Tom.
Oh, it's gonna come to the banking also.
Mm-hmm.
I got a problem with Chase. I don't know about the rest of y'all. but I
All
have a
this
problem with
takes
Chase.
all this takes apart everything that we talks about. Everything that we talks about. Everything that we talk about all leads into a lock chain. Everything has its place, and it all starts with sovereign, because that is the beginning. That is the word that I keep telling people that sovereign is never really used, but it's always snuck in every time and time you hear the news talk about it. When they talk about certain states, your sovereign states or rules or
They even got a sovereign
nation.
bank now
Mm-hmm.
that we found.
That's right. They renamed it. So I don't want to expose
I
that
don't want to
yet.
put it out there yet because
Yeah.
with that, we thinking of that could be a good bank to bank with.
You know, so we have to make sure that we have to do our homework. But trust me, what we talking about, we're learning ourselves, and we finding it very fascinating because it's all about what we're able to talk about, your freedom of speech. And I think it's a good thing to know, especially for a lot of our people who do the YouTube channels. You should know this is why a lot of us are getting flagged. And we really shouldn't be getting flagged. Not when you have freedom of speech. And I saw something that I found very disturbing on YouTube too. And as a YouTube channel, and I'm learning, just starting out.
I'm
because
I'm laughing because I know how long you've been on it.
yeah,
It haven't been that long.
so we're working on it, but I have a problem with their copyright situation. And I think that's very important for people to understand how that works too. Because they could tell you that there's no copyright. You could use that material and then someone will tell you to take it down. So basically somebody owns that, but you're telling them they can use it, but you have to ask permission first. So then it's not really it's not a no copyright. It's a copyright to that. And I think that that's misleading to a lot of people who do videos on YouTube and things like that, who go to YouTube to find materials to create their pages. Like that is very hard. That's one of those things that goes up there with civil liberties and the free speech. So we have to understand when we get into certain materials why we doing it. And
Certain litigation is going to come with some type of contract behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're getting involved in any type of litigation, you just have to check for these things. And litigation can even come down to a beat or a song that you can pick up.
That's right.
There
That's
might
why
be some legal aspect behind that beat or that song. So you got to inquire about that before you use it.
That's why when you always say, when I do remember, I always try to say we own no rights to no songs. We claim no rights to any songs on this show. When I remember, because it's important. People. These are things that we have to learn. I think we need to go back in our history books from the beginning. And I think the best way to find out about what's going on in the world and times today, I think we need to really go back to the beginning of our religion. I really think we need to go back to times of religion.
Now, when you say we say we as individuals, or you say we as a group?
We as a group, as humans.
Oh, as humans.
I think we should go as far back as the Knights Templar, and I think a lot of people need to really read about their banking system, how it started, and why you have poverty in certain areas. It explains that from that time on, it explains why you have certain organizations, why you have secret societies, and I understand it now. I understand everything. I
As
understand
well
it.
that you're one of less than 1,000,000%.
There's a lot of people who understand it, they just don't accept it.
Okay, but so why we can't come together then? What's gonna put that word out there that this is what we should do and get people to understand it?
I'm gonna take one from your page now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to answer that as a human being, or do you want me to answer that as a black man?
Okay, so
Go ahead, I'm listening.
in that saying, the possibility of that happening is limited.
Once again,
So you gotta, it's not gonna be a majority.
Do you want me to answer that as a human being, or do you want me to answer that as a
Well,
black
that's
man?
not even a question.
And here's the thing: a lot of people are gonna say, "Why he keeps saying ain't a black man a human being?" Not when it comes to the law. So now, how would you like me to answer that?
Well, you're always supposed to be a human being. So
Listen,
I
now,
don't agree.
I'm sorry. I'm only going by what I see.
Well, I'm glad I ain't seeing what you see.
What I'm reading on the paper and what they're trying to tell me what my rights are not definitely the way things have been going.
They're not matching up.
So you're
So
not
they're
gonna tell me I know I'm a human being, but I have to talk in the rights of what I'm reading and what's going on.
Well, that's
So I'm separating myself because that's how they actually say to us that, you know what, part of us are not part of the human race. You get some people say that, you get some people don't.
part of us.
Part of us,
How we are divided.
because there's a difference between a nigga and a black man.
Okay, but the nigga doesn't designate on a certain color.
I didn't say that.
I'm saying that.
I'm saying in the world of dark and brown, there's a difference between a nigga and a black man. I'm saying that.
So you just speaking in general of that.
I'm picking up that ethnic group.
Okay.
That you better? My opinion.
Not really.
My opinion.
Okay, because there's some niggas that ain't black or dark skin or brown skin at all. That's worse than.
We'll say that for another day.
Okay.
Because you truly are correct about that. And I'm not even sure we can say that with the FCC on the line. We done said it 3-4 times.
And that's why we between 10,000 knots, so we can keep it under the radar. This ain't a news flash.
Oh man. We just trying to make you can hear us getting our little sayings, but we're trying to make you aware of what's really happening to us right now, people.
What I'm trying to do is express what I'm learning. I'm not trying to make anybody aware. I'm blown away by what I'm learning, so
Amen.
I'm just passing it on.
Okay, I could dig that. We could take another. We're passing on our learnings, our teachings.
Some of it we should have learned in school, but we disregard it.
Come on now.
Now, once you get of a certain age, you understand that all they was telling us was correct. But you just got to give it the understanding.
Some. I don't. You see, here's my thing about what I've read and what I've seen. Both sides didn't tell the truth. And I think that's where the confusion comes in. Both sides. Now, here's the problem. I don't even know who both sides is.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, I don't even know. But I know somebody in my left ear and somebody in my right ear didn't tell my brain in the middle the truth. Because it's too much knowledge and research that's bringing me to other directions than what I've been told.
Well, you got to choose it and gain an understanding from the past. You know what you're going through in the present to give an idea towards the future.
You know, I do understand that we went through some hard times. We went through slavery, and when I say we, I'm talking that's, I don't want to say people of color, but, and I do understand that. But I don't think people realize that the system we are in right now, like in this system, we are considered the lower level slaves, right?
I'm listening to you because I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Wait a minute. Before you even go there,
Go ahead.
in regards to the system,
Yes.
system hasn't changed. What
Yes.
changes is our understanding of the system.
Amen.
That's basically it. When we was kids, we didn't think about the system. As we got older, we said, okay, the system's there. When we got to the adulthood, had children, so you know what, the system is kind of strange. Once you get past that and your kids are growing up and your kids are having kids, then you get into the real depths of what's really going on. And then you give understanding like we're doing and give an understanding.
You think people care though?
But all we can do is express it. All we can do is express it and hope somebody of youth grabs it and want to do something with it.
By me researching it made me change a lot of things.
Maybe we could change your life. All it takes is one.
I ain't trying to save nobody's life. I'm preparing myself for what's gonna happen. I have to flow with my boy Killer Mike on this one. I have to flow with my boy Killer Mike on this one. I think it's time for us to convert back to the laws of the land, to the ways of the land, fishing, hunting, because I think that's what we're coming back to. Problem is, will the animals be safe to eat?
Okay. Oh, so I was about to get into that. Cause
Yeah.
Don't forget about the
Radiation.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can say it.
No, that's why the chemtrails.
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 Yes.
Yeah.
And I had to think about that.
Yeah.
We're gonna go into a whole different thing right now.
That's okay. Let's go.
Talking about the chemtrails, as I learned the basis a lot from talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in even a little further, start understanding and start wondering why our behavioral, mental has altered in the past 20 years. We didn't have all this mental health 20, 30 years ago. We had a few people, we knew who they was mental.
At the beginning of the program, I asked you, do you think the world is going into a depression? And I don't mean money.
I'm going to the basis, as you said, from the chemtrails.
Right.
It could be, it's affecting the fruit, vegetables, and all of that.
Which is affecting our mental.
Right. Autistic kids.
Yes.
This goes on a lot of different bases.
Down to the power line.
And there's documentation based on this.
And here's the thing that I just explained to a lot of people. They're putting up 5G Wi-Fi right now.
Yeah.
But people don't know that the Wi-Fi, people don't know that Wi-Fi causes cancer. And when I found that out, made me decide, no, I didn't decide, let me not say that. Made me rethink about doing my whole house in Wi-Fi. Not realizing that
the radiation
you got
going through your house.
Yes.
And you know what, you're right, it's open radiation.
Open
Because
radiation.
If you come in here, you can connect to it.
Anything.
Through the waves, so it's definitely
made me do a lot of researching and how dangerous this chemtrail really is, and really people don't pay attention to it. And I found out about it because I do a lot of following the Dick Gregory, and I was reading a book, and it was mentioned in the book, and I happened to go to the YouTube to watch it, and I was surprised at how openly they're talking about it.
Yeah. And how often
but it is
they
dangerous.
do it.
It is dangerous. It's not something that you want to enlighten a lot of people to, because I do believe the government doesn't like that.
They ground up, what was it? They ground it up and made it into metal particles.
Metal particles. It's all type of chemical waste.
Biohazardous.
All of that.
Yeah, all of that. That's what they found to get rid of it, instead of polluting waters and all that kind of stuff.
Put it in your air.
Put it up in the air. Not even in space. They're just putting it up in the air.
Right
then
above
when
the
it rains,
clouds.
it comes right back down.
Right back down. And I tell people, you ever notice that when you wake up some mornings and you got them white spots all over your cars? People don't even know what that is. People don't even pay attention to that.
I'm going beyond that. When they wonder why kids' lead levels go up. I mean, it's all the way from the fruit. I mean, it's coming down on the fruit and vegetables. Unless you have a greenhouse where your fruit and vegetables that you're growing is growing inside with your own water source, your own filtered water source.
You know what's funny though? A lot of people may know, and believe me, there's a lot of protests against what's going on. But there are a lot of people also who really don't care.
A lot of people say, you know what, I'm gonna die of something anyway. A lot of people got that attitude. And he'll tell you this, I'm very skeptical about when it rains, stepping out into the rain. Very skeptical about that. Because you don't know what's coming down. People don't realize that you could take a shower, but you don't get sick. You come right out, you can step out. But you step in the rain and you stand in the rain for a minute, you can catch pneumonia. Think about that. You could take a shower
Step out in the cold, and you'll be fine. But you stand in the rain, and you can catch pneumonia. Feet wet. Just gotta pay. You just forget. I just tell people sometimes forget about what you think the conspiracy is of the government. Forget about all of that. Think about yourself. Start reading for yourself. Not because you think it's wrong. Read for yourself. Read to know. Need to know when you pick up that apple if that apple is sprayed. Need to know when you drink that milk. Is that milk really concentrated?
The difference between organic and...
Yeah. And even your organic could be, you know...
If it's still outside, it could be infected.
There's a lot of vegetables that a lot of people think are grown that are man-made. So, I mean, you have to know what's going on in your surroundings.
That's why they say you got to go back to growing your own food. You just mentioned that, going back to the fishing and growing your own vegetables.
And I'm just telling you, I'm not even sure if that's because you don't know you know these animals that live deep in these forests where you hunt at. These people drop all kind of stuff back in these. Man, listen.
What you mean, drop all kind of stuff?
I'm telling you, man, they drop all kind of.
Excuse me.
Man, listen.
But this thing, you talking about like toxic waste on the ground for them to eat up or something
all
like that?
Man.
Nah, go ahead.
You mean, nah, go ahead, man. Don't people.
But that's why if you have your own farm, grow your own fruits and vegetables, you got your own cows or whatever. That's what you didn't you say somebody said to go back to that I can't think of what you said his name was?
Killer Mike.
Yeah.
Well, he has a point.
I totally agree with the point.
He has a point. He does. He has a point. But by the time all that gets to take place, man, you dropping nuclear bombs and shit, what you gonna eat? You gotta store all that meat. And he has a point. I'm not gonna lie. He has a point. He has a very good point. We do need to change a lot of our ways. A lot of things need to change. But I'm just saying it's just very good to learn. Now I know why I live the way I live. Now I know why certain things are not available to me, no matter how hard I try. I get it, you know. I'm not going to let that frustrate me no more because now I know why I'm frustrated. Now I know why I don't get the loans and you don't get the credit the way you want or even if you do.
I think that's something you got to build.
Nah, because look, as a person, listen, and I'm just being realistic here. I have bad credit, but you would think that you would be in this system, the way it's designed, that if a person doesn't use credit for 10 years, nothing, no movement, good or bad, that he will be rewarded. Like you will be giving back your credit points. To them, nah, you ain't had no credit, you ain't had no movement. You in the no judgment.
You want the government answer? Yo, the
I
government.
want
Wait.
I want the working man's answer.
No. The government answer is, I can't invest in you because you ain't put no money into me.
Right.
You ain't done nothing.
I agree.
You sat there and collected whatever you had, kept it to yourself. You ain't spend no money with us.
I agree.
We ain't get a couple $2 for holding your money.
I agree.
Now when you want a loan, you want to come to us. No, you got to build some type of reputation.
A reputation.
Go ahead.
Ain't got nothing to say. Because I'm that person who's did the 10 years, had no movement, nothing. I said, yo, I got to clear my credit. I had no movement. Good or bad, I didn't do anything I paid within the last 10 years was
You
all
cleared
cash.
it and then you went into negative. No,
Yeah.
you went into the positive.
No, I didn't win. Actually, it didn't. Actually, it didn't move. My whole thing was, we can't give you a judgment right now because you have no credit history.
No activity.
And I said to myself, wait a minute now. Let me get this straight. If you get good credit, you're rewarded. Just. If you get bad credit, you're also rewarded.
Trying to get good credit.
Right.
If you can make a payment plan.
But if you have no credit,
You ain't doing nothing.
you ain't giving.
You ain't banking, so what business should we give you?
So then, You're supposed to clear your bad credit and still hold on to credit. That's how it goes.
Yeah. No, you're supposed to clear your bad credit
Right.
through them by smaller payments on longer longevity. That way it don't hurt you.
So what happens if you don't have no movement while paying it off? That's still movement because you're paying it off during the 10 years?
You're paying it off, but you have no movement. So you're getting even with us, but you're not gaining no ground with us.
That's a ripoff.
That's not a ripoff. It's business. I can't give you a loan. I'd rather give this dude a loan that's been bringing me money back and forth back, but he still owe me 5 G's. But I know he's going to keep coming. So I'd rather do business with him. What I'm going to do business with you for, I'll do business with you one time. I might not see you for another 5 years. I'm losing money by messing with you.
I don't need longevity.
Because that money I gave you, I could have tripled with him.
I understand.
Okay. You got to get from Peter to pay Paul. You know how that go?
Nope, because I'm still messing around with John and Simon.
Yeah, John and Simon got you wondering.
Yeah, man, listen. I learned a lesson on that. I thought by clearing my credit, I would be good to go, but that was a lesson learned.
I only know what I know from from being punished by them. Fees and fees and fees.
And in order for me to move on to my next life, I got to reestablish credit. And that's something I didn't want to do. I just didn't want to do it. I went 10 years without no credit, and I was living good, too. I ain't had to worry about nothing. I wasn't getting no credit, but I wasn't on no bad credit list either. You don't know what it's like when you ain't got none of them joints coming to your house.
You was in a bowl.
I don't know where the hell I was at. I know
you was in a bowl. You was a light bulb in a bowl. Yeah. Whenever you decide to use some credit, it'll light up in a bowl of about 1,000 people. They say, "Hey, there's a light bulb lighting in there." They come pick you out the bowl. Say, "See how long the last time they seen you." Oh damn, we ain't seen him in 9 years.
I'm telling you, when I went to the car dealer, he was like, "Oh, Mr. Richard, you ain't had no activities in 8 years. We can't do nothing with you right now."
He's been like, "I didn't come in here about activity, man. I came in about my credit."
But MCU gave me a full out loan for a car.
Based on probably where you work.
Pretty much.
If you show some longevity at a job, they definitely represent that.
He said, "Mr. Richard, you ain't paid taxes in 10. You ain't paid credit. You ain't have credit in 10 years." I said, "No, but I pay taxes." He said, "That don't count." Yes, it does.
Not to him.
Yes, it does. Cause don't you check? They check your tax history on your credit, don't they?
Nah, I don't think they do.
Oh. It's been a good show. I was really under the weather, too. I'm really feeling down. This is good. Civil rights, civil liberty, and human rights. There's a difference, people. We went off topic just a little bit, but once you rewind and listen again, you'll hear it. It's the Rand and Tone Show.
Don't forget about the Panama Papers.
Yeah. Don't forget about them Panama Papers.
Check into it.
We will be talking about
Easy,
that.
y'all. You got the phones. Go ahead and do it. Panama Papers. Just take a minute to read that over. I bet you it'll make you go,
It's going to shock you. Don't watch half of it so you think you know what it's about. Watch all of it so you know what it's about.
If you get a headache, that means you learned something.
You learned something.
Living Room TRT.
Until we see you guys next Thursday, we're going to boogie on out of here. Y'all have a good night. Love y'all much, y'all. Live from the living room. Big Rand, Tone. That's the Lord.
Gotta be live.
Live from the living room. Big Rand, Tone. That's the Lord.
Gotta be live.
Live from the